Hello and welcome back to the Leadership TKO Night Show via podcast. I am your senior leader and the creator of Leadership TKO, the brand. Now, this brand, of course, is housed under the parent company, which is the International Leadership Education and Development Company, LLC. This is a limited liability company that's based in Chesapeake, Virginia. And we also have a location in Nigeria, Africa. Now, Leadership TKO, the whole purpose behind the brand and behind, of course, the company itself is that we partner with universities, with small businesses, right, and universities, all of these things, all of these organizations to really build winning leaders. That's what we're truly all about. Building winning leaders. We know that majority of the people that approach us are those who have women's organizations or they're small business owners and they're women owned. And so we know that most of our content definitely caters to women, but of course we do have a few good men who do come to us for assistance. So we do not say that we turn away men from getting help through our organization, but we know that majority of the market that comes to us for help are women. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure, of course, to visit the website to learn more about the brand itself. You can visit the website, which is leadershiptko.com. And of course, you can add the www before it. So it'll be www.leadershiptko.com. So that you can learn more about this brand. But this is a podcast that we normally host, and it happens on Mondays at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we've been on this campaign, and we're going strong with this campaign, and it's entitled the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign. And if you are female, you're listening to this particular podcast episode tonight, I want you to definitely pay attention. Pay attention, because this is very, very important, because women around the world, we face issues that are critical, that needs to be brought to light. Solutions need to be brought to the surface, some of them which are created already. We just don't know about the solutions. And then also solutions need to be created to help alleviate some concerns that we're facing in our communities and in continents all around the world, right? And so we have concerns ranging from parenting children who have special needs, having faced child abuse in our own childhood, but never addressing it. We have things such as mental illness that needs to be addressed. How about concerns with employment and not being given the opportunity that a man will be given, being overlooked for promotion, wage inequality, sexual harassment? What about those physical health issues that we face, such as lupus and heart disease and cancer? All of these things that needs to be addressed so that it does not hinder us from being able to lead well in every setting. And so that's the purpose of this campaign, to bring these things to light, to share stories, and to unify around the world to empower other women and to really move the hands of the decision makers so that we can see change happen. It's not enough just to do it during one season or one time of the year or during one occasion, for example, when a president is elected. But we need to continue this on throughout this year and even perhaps beyond. In my mind, I also foresee this continuing beyond 2017. So definitely stay tuned for more information about that. But for those of you who are plugged in and you're listening in right now, if you're not connected to the campaign, please visit the website, which is www.born2lead2017.com. to get connected to the campaign. That will allow you to become an official member. And what happens is after you complete the form that is there, you're going to be directed to the Facebook group where the official members are. Now, there are some members in the group who are not official just yet, but if you become an official member, there are definitely perks to being an official member. And I recommend that you listen to yesterday's episode that gives you all the details about being a member. But be connected, because it's extremely, extremely important so that your voice can be heard. Because I know that there are many of you out there. Of course, I don't know you personally by name, but I know that you're out there and you're listening. You're saying, Lakeisha, this is so true. There's so many issues. We need solutions. We need to stand up for what we know and what we believe in to allow our voice to be heard. And so definitely connect. connect with the campaign. Visit www.borntolead2017.com to get connected. When you do, we are going to welcome you inside of the group. We'll inform you about what we have going on so that you can get plugged in and be made aware of everything that we're doing. So, thank you so much. But I wanted to focus on an important topic because this month, there are many things that are being brought to awareness this month. I just recently saw that it's also Autism Awareness Month for those who suffer from autism, which is a childhood type of mental health type of concern. And so you definitely want to be well informed about what autism is. It is definitely a concern that needs to be further addressed. I know many people have created organizations and trying to create therapies behind it, but it's well needed. Trust me, it really is. Because parenting a child with autism can be extremely difficult. Even for those kids who have not been diagnosed but have the symptoms, it can be extremely difficult. So be a support. Loan a shoulder to lean on for that parent, and just pray for that child, because that child is different. Doesn't mean, of course, that they're odd, but they just do things differently. That's it. So again, just pray for those families who are parenting children with autism, to be supportive and also provide resources for them as well in your local community. There are many people struggling. And if you're a parent and you're struggling because you have a child who's autistic and you need the help, definitely leave a comment to this episode so that we can get you the information that you need. Leave a comment as well as an email address, and we'll get you the content, get you the resources that you need so that you can have a healthy family. But also, I wanted to really shine some light on child abuse, because that's another area of awareness for this month of April. Awareness about child abuse. I don't know if you're specifically aware of what abuse and neglect is, but it's when, of course, harm is brought upon a child, right? Whether it be a physical harm, whether it be emotional harm, whether it's sexual harm, or they don't receive the things that they need, such as food, clothing, shelter, medical attention. These things will lead to abuse and neglect of a child, and it has to be done by a caretaker. Okay? When these things are done to a child by someone who's assuming care of another child or of a child, then that's abuse or neglect. And in some cases, of course, it can be a combination of the two. So if you know of these things going on, please Google, search online for the hotline number so that you can report it to a local social service agency. It's extremely important. Everyone has the ability to allow their voice to be heard and report concerns of abuse and neglect. Now, there are various types of abuse and neglect, and we're going to go through quite a few of them, okay? But I wanted to definitely just touch on the topic tonight to allow you to know that it does exist, and that some people, there's a lot of abuse and neglect that's not being reported. And so we don't want to keep this thing in silence. We want to definitely share it. And I'll be a little transparent with you. I've been abused as a child. Right? And this was something, of course, that wasn't really brought to light in the family when I was a child, because it was kept under wraps. And in some cases, not all, because of your beliefs, it will definitely keep that concern, right, hidden until it will come to light. All things will come to light, whether when you're alive or when you're passed on and you're gone from this earth, it will come to light. And so that happened for me, and I experienced it. And of course, it caused great harm to the family, right? And it tried to, of course, cause great harm to me. But I know that God, the Most High, had his hand upon my life and would not allow me to see destruction. But because when I heard his voice, I sought him, for healing and for deliverance. And so that's the reason why I'm here today. And of course, there are many ways of coping and dealing with abuse and neglect. And of course, dealing with it in a spiritual way is definitely one way of doing so. But there are therapies out there. There are counselors who are willing to assist you with processing these things when they do happen. And so I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, of course, throughout the rest of the month. I may shine a little more light on autism as well. But when it comes to child abuse and neglect, we're going to talk about the categories during each of these different episodes. I'm going to share with you some great information from some people who shared a little bit about their story. And I'll definitely read some of their story on the podcast so that you can hear a little bit of it. They've given us permission, of course, to publish on blogs, and we'll definitely get permission to see if we can share a little bit on the podcast as well. But this is a big issue. Abuse and or neglect. It's a big issue, a big deal, but it can be something that you can work out, that you can process and be healed of. I don't want you to think that, oh, my life is over, my life is ruined because I was abused and neglected. But if you suffered from it, if someone neglected you as a child, if someone abused you in any way, whether it be emotional abuse, someone calling you stupid, that you won't amount to anything, words like that cause emotional harm, that's abuse. And if you face that as a child, right, then it needs to be processed. You need to talk with someone about it, because it could be something that's still lingering and you're still hurt and have not overcome it. And so I'm going to talk about coping mechanisms as well for those of you who do still struggle with that. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to give you so much information from now until the end of April on this topic so that you can become well educated. And to be honest with you, I received formal education in the area of social work a bit and working with families. So I know a lot about this topic, and that's just my formal education in undergrad. Okay. And a little bit definitely in master's degree level as well. Now I did bridge over into leadership and into entrepreneurship, definitely, a bit later after that, but my foundation is in social sciences. And so I definitely would love to educate you on this topic quite a bit throughout this month. And of course, I'll have some numbers available for you pretty soon also, about numbers you can dial if you know someone or if you've witnessed any abuse or neglect going on. But for now, definitely Google the number, the Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline. And if you know of that going on, if you're experiencing it yourself, if you're a child and you're listening to this podcast episode, definitely get in contact with law enforcement or a social service agency and report it. If you are working in the social work field, you are mandated to report abuse or neglect, or you will be fined or jailed. So please report it when you do see it. Or, of course, if you hear about it and you really have facts about it, definitely report it. But again, I really thank you so much for tuning into this podcast episode tonight. We're going to go into more detail about child abuse and neglect starting tomorrow. And of course, we'll share some more stories. And I may, of course, definitely share a little bit of my story as well, just to kind of break it open and give you an inside idea of what it looks like to have experienced child abuse or neglect. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, get plugged into this campaign. We're touching on issues, real issues that have impacted the lives of women globally. And remember, of course, above all things with this podcast, to think, speak, and live leadership. And of course, we are leading through this campaign. Get connected by visiting www.borntolead2017.com.